Welcome back, everybody, to Strike Fighters 2 for more adventures with the MiG-21 and our ace North Vietnamese pilot, Win Van Koch. Today's date is July 16th, 1966, and our mission today is going to be to intercept an enemy flight approaching the Kin No Motor Vehicle Repair Facility, prevent the enemy flight from reaching its target. Call sign is the Ngoc Dinh flight. We'll be taking two MiG-21 F-13s, take off at 9:07 a.m., intercepting the target by 9:17, landing back at Kep Air Base 9:31. After losing yet another MiG-21 last mission, we are now in aircraft 2013 with our standard air-to-air loadout, 2 ATOL missiles, 1 centerline drop tank, total takeoff weight 17,220 pounds. Let's take a look at our map for today. Now, based on our recent losses, both of my own aircraft and our dwindling wingmen, I'm adopting some realistic North Vietnamese tactics today. We'll only be taking 2 aircraft on a small hit-and-run mission, staying very low altitude to stay off the American radars, dodging in and around mountains, and then after we make some hit-and-run attacks, we're just going to speed back up to the north. So here you can see we're taking off from Kep and circling around out to the west. We're going to go right behind the Tam Dao mountain range, staying low behind that as we circle around to waypoint 3 over the city of Phu To, right along the Red River. After that, it's down to the south to our initial point, heading down into the mountains of western North Vietnam, and then turning over to the left, heading southeast down to the initial point, just south of Hanoi and Dong Xuang Air Base, hopefully picking up the Americans to make our intercept. My plan is to circle around behind the strike flight and then make a full power run through the center of the formation, firing both missiles and then peeling off and then making a run for it. So probably not too much gun today, unless there's an opportunity to dogfight, but fuel consumption has been a big problem the last 2 missions. I've basically run out of fuel. If I hadn't been shot down, I would have run out of fuel. Between that and the overwhelming numbers of the Americans, getting bogged down in dogfights is probably going to do nothing good for us. So I'm actually going to try to avoid that today, unless the opportunity clearly presents itself to do so in a safe manner. So we will see. After we make the intercept, somewhere over Hanoi, like I said, fire the 2 missiles, and then we're just going to boot scoot it up to the north, circling back around to Kep, and hopefully getting both MiGs back on the ground safely. Take a look at our squadron here, and you can see what sort of dire straits we're in. We're down to 15 aircraft, so we have been getting a few aircraft replacements, because it should be lower. We've lost more than 5 planes, but our supply is only 18%, so that's getting dangerously low, and our pilot numbers are not great either. I think we've had 8 pilots killed. And if we look at some of the other squadrons, their numbers are about the same as ours. Here's the 3rd flight of the 923rd, also out of Kep. They're down to 16 planes, but they still have 42% supply. Here's our buddies over at Phu Quien. Here's the rest of the 2nd flight, 921st. They're down to 13 aircraft with 35%. And you can see 1st flight, our old squadron, down to 9 aircraft only, but 27% supply. I'm actually not sure, but I wonder if supply also takes into account the number of pilots available to the squadron. Because I don't think we would have run out of missiles and drop tanks faster than any of these other squadrons, but we definitely have lost a lot of pilots. So that may be a factor in that percentage, but I don't know about that for sure. Speaking of pilots, let's look over at our roster. I'm in Ngoc Dinh 1, 15 combat missions so far, 44 air-to-air kills, and my wingman is going to be Second Lieutenant Duong Van Vai, who's been on 8 missions and has 1 air-to-air kill, actually, and he's at 87 condition, so he's in pretty good shape. Okay, so that's it for today's briefing. I'm less concerned about accomplishing the mission and more concerned about getting 1 or 2 kills and preserving the aircraft and wingmen. That's really my goal for today. So, to that end, low-level flight today, using terrain masking, hit-and-run tactics, not wasting fuel traveling. So if we get to that initial point, and if the aircraft are still 50 to 100 miles away like they were last time, then I reserve the option to select a nearest target and just go after whatever is closest instead and try to get some kills. So we'll see how this works out today. We'll see you out on the tarmac.
Một định, thưa ông trưởng.
Alright, knocked in, flight cleared for takeoff, wheel brakes off, full power on the R11. And it spools up to full power, and then we light the afterburner. Full power down the runway, nose is starting to creep up slightly on its own. There we go. 300 kph, rotate. And we're airborne. Gear up, flaps up. And then we're immediately going to pull back on the power and level out because we are not going very high today. We're just going to stay right down close to the ground here. Town of Kep coming up on our left. Tamdao Mountains out in the distance and the Cow River out in front of us. We're going to be following the river over towards the mountains, and we're going to go behind them as we circle around towards Futo. And there's Kep right to the left. Our flight today, Ngoc Din, is named after Vu Ngoc Din, and he was a MiG-21 pilot with the 921st Air Regiment, just like us. He had 6 kills and was ranked the number 4 ace in North Vietnam. So we continue the trend today of flight names named after famous North Vietnamese aces. Funny coincidence, Vu's first air-to-air kill was an F-105, which he shot down on July 11th, 1966, so that would have only been 5 days before where we are here in the game, because we are on the 16th. Speaking of the date, let's talk about what's going on in the real-life timeline here in the summer of 1966. The beginning of this month signaled the start of the Rolling Thunder POL campaign. So, on June 29th, Rolling Thunder's first strikes against petroleum, oil, and lubrication storage areas were carried out by aircraft of the 355th and 388th Tactical Fighter Wings of the Air Force, and from air wings from the USS Constellation and Ranger. About a week later, July 8th, President Johnson publicly announces that he has designated POL as Rolling Thunder's top targeting priority. And then later in the month, July 24th, we have the CINCPAC, who is the top admiral in charge of all Pacific naval forces. His name was Admiral Ulysses Sharp, and he began advocating for the attacking of Phu Quien and Kep air bases to expedite the POL campaign. So voices were starting to be raised against keeping these key air bases off limit to American forces when they could basically have wiped out the entire MiG force on the ground in one afternoon. Instead, we're being forced to tiptoe around it. So later in this month, Admiral Sharp will begin pressuring the president to start targeting those airfields.
Một định như Việt Giang 007 gió đĩa tiếp lái 50 cây số 150 mét hướng bắc hướng mày cái chừng một định như Việt Giang 007 gió đĩa tiếp lái 50 cây số 150 mét hướng bắc. Một định như Việt Giang 007 gió đĩa ở trước 50 cây số 450 mét hướng bắc.
Ngoc Dinh has rounded the Tam Dao mountain range, passed over Phu To and the Red River, and now we're heading south down into the western mountain ranges. Keeping nice and low, staying off those American radars. We're going to pass behind these hills up ahead to use them as terrain masking. Looks like we have Navy planes coming in off the Gulf, as usual, which I believe is our primary targets. But it looks like we also have Air Force coming in from Thailand out to our right. And there's Second Lieutenant Duong behind me out to my left, keeping up with me as we rocket through the hills here. Bogey's 11 o'clock, 50 miles, down low at 5,000 feet. So maybe our primary targets. Like I said, I'm hoping to circle around behind them, but if the timing is not right, if we get to the initial point and they're still miles and miles out, then I may just designate a different target, something that's closer, make our attacks so we can go home. But you can see all these hills and mountains out in the distance here that we can hide behind. This hopefully will get us right behind the Americans without them even knowing that we're coming. And there we've hit waypoint 4, heading to waypoint 5. Somewhere on the other side of this valley. It's actually over to our left a little bit, but bad guys are still more than 50 miles out, so let's go behind this ridge. Right here, we have more ridges to our right protecting us from those Air Force aircraft. And we got the green light on, so we are on internal fuel, so I can probably ditch this drop tank. Tank away as it plows down out into the thick jungle. It's not landing on anybody today. And we're just skimming the canopy. Oop, ground's coming up a little bit to meet me. Let's roll up and over the top of this ridge and head out towards our waypoint. Go up and over. And we're clear of the ridge, down the other side. Oh, look, we have another ridge out on the other side of this valley here. Perfect. So we'll drop down behind that, and that'll get us a little bit closer to the Americans. Let's see how close they are. Okay, the nearest bad guys are actually to my right at 4 o'clock, still more than 50 miles out, which means the Navy planes to my left are even further away. Primary targets dead ahead, more than 50 miles down low at 5,000 feet. So we're pretty close to the initial point, and the Americans are not, which is not what I wanted to see. This is what sort of got us last mission, too, is I got to the initial point, which you can see we just passed, and they're nowhere near us, and we had to circle wasting fuel, and I don't want to waste any more fuel than we have to. I also don't want to hang out right here in the open, so why don't we duck behind this ridge that we came over the top of a minute ago, and let's hang out here. If we have to circle, I at least want to be hidden behind here. Maybe we can ambush them as they come by. Because the initial point is over back to our right there in the middle of that valley, and they're going to be coming in at 5,000 feet, so they're going to be right here at low level also. So if we can chill over here in this valley, It'll give us a good staging point to ambush from. Primary targets behind us now, still more than 50 miles out. The nearest, we have F-105s off to our left at only 25 miles. Okay, in the interest of saving fuel, I'm exercising my option to switch targets. We're going for these Thunder Chiefs. They're only 30 miles out now, to the west. We have more ridges out here. Let's send Second Lieutenant Duong after them right now. And we'll sort of hopefully stage a two-prong attack. Okay, looks like we got a nice long ridge out here to the in front of us. So we'll stay behind that. Still using terrain masking to sneak up on these Air Force aircraft instead of the Navy ones, but these guys are clearly so much closer than the Navy planes, so I'm not going to waste my fuel and time. We got some targets right here, let's just get them. And then head on back. Yeah, okay, so they're coming out to our left. We got this beautiful ridge out to my left here. Look how long it is. We're going to follow this baby all the way down to that curve out to the right. And we'll bring the throttle back a little bit to let these thuds roll out in front of us, hopefully. Yeah, look, the freaking primary's still more than 50 miles back there. I would have had to fly halfway to Yankee Station just to intercept them, and I'm not going to do that. So here we go. Here's some fully laden strike F-105s on their way in from Thailand, heading into what I assume probably be Hanoi, some target around Hanoi. We're going to see if we can pick a couple of them off. Alright, coming around the north end of this ridge here. Got a little valley, let's follow that up. These guys have to be close. Yes, they are. Less than 10 miles, they're dead ahead. Using the HUD, the in-game HUD as a substitute for ground controller instructions. And GCI is letting me know that that squadron is right there. There we go, we got eyes on them. Looks like 2 flights. Duong should be moving into attack now. He's probably behind me. I don't see, I think it's 2 flights of F-105s. I don't see additional escorts, so maybe we'll have a few seconds here to come up right behind him. I have the ATOLs selected. I got beautiful, clear, cool blue sky. I'm hoping that these missiles will lock right up on the hot exhaust, and we can just let loose. Pretty close. Still nothing on the missiles yet. Come on. There we go. We got a lock. Missile away. And it's tracking. Second one is off. It's also good. There we go. We got a hit. F-105 is going down in flames. The squadron is scattering. We're close enough for guns. Switching over. We have a radar lock on the ranging. Firing. Come on. Oh, he's skidding to the right. Son of a bitch, and I overshoot. And that's it. I am out of ammo. Shit. Whoa, missile. Trail off to my left. Hopefully that's my wingman attacking. And not escorts coming at us. Okay, tracking my wingman now. There's Second Lieutenant Duong out to my left. Looks like he's engaging in F-105. There's nothing we can really do to protect him other than just be a deterrent. So let's just follow him and try to make sure that nobody slides in behind him. We could at least tell him to brake. But it looks like his 6 is clear. I don't see any escorts yet. It looks like he's just on this F-105. So we'll pull in behind him and just stay with him, and hopefully he'll expend his ammo, and then we can get the hell out of here. Man, he's locked right on this guy, 6 o'clock. Come on. You can do it.
Ta thấy mấy thằng có đĩa.
Take the shot. He's right there.
Cuối chừng nó thả pháo.
Yes. Come on.
Cuối chừng nó thả pháo.
Oh, man. That was the perfect opportunity.
Đúng.
Oh, now he's firing some guns. Come on.
Ta thấy mấy thằng có đĩa. Một.
Oh, and 2 is out of ammo as well. Son of a bitch. There he goes. He's breaking off. All right, setting waypoint for home. Let's get 2 back on my wing, and I'm out of here. We got plenty of fuel left. We can use the afterburners to escape if we have to. Still 1,500 liters.
Ta thấy mấy thằng có đĩa.
Full power as we head back down towards the terrain.
Ta thấy mấy thằng có đĩa. Hai. Hết đạn rồi. Hết đạn rồi.
Oh, 2 still has a missile left.
Cuối chừng nó thả pháo. Hai.
Huh.
Xin lỗi nha, ta
And he
không-
won't attack
không làm
that
được.
F-105 that I still have targeted for some reason. Let's see, what's our nearest target? Right 1 o'clock, 10 miles. It's a Navy Phantom, down low at 5,000. Let's send him after that. I just want him to fire that one last missile.
Xuống đất. Hai. Ta hiểu rồi.
Maybe try to get him a kill before we get back in,
Mạnh Tùng. Tao cần giúp
since
nữa.
he was not able to get that gun kill on the very close F-105. Let's try to get him one more. So if that's a Navy plane, those F-105s definitely did not have any sort of escort, but it looks like our primary targets maybe are coming in off the right. And that's what those F-4Bs are.
Ta thấy mấy thằng có đĩa.
And while he's off doing that, I'm just going to stay low, turn back towards the north. There's the Tam Dows, rising up out of the ground. We got some sort of little base or something off to my left. 2 is bingo fuel.
Ta thấy mấy thằng có đĩa.
So hopefully he'll just fire that missile. Holy shit, he's way back over Hanoi already. Look at that. I'm behind him. That's Fujian right in front of him. He's almost back at Fujian. You can see there's a whole line of aircraft out in front of him. Our primary targets, maybe. So that's probably why he's out of fuel. He probably went full afterburner to get back to Hanoi. Well,
Có đĩa. Ở sau. 25
I guess we're actually not that far behind. There's Hanoi out to the right. Here's the Red River we're coming up on right now. Viet Tree's out to my left.
Hướng Nam.
Oh, and there is the impacts from the strike flight.
Nói chung là thất bại
Were
rồi.
they bombing Fujian?
Cuối chừng nó thả pháo. Ta thấy cái gì lạ. Cuối chừng nó thả pháo.
That might be the airbase.
Cuối chừng nó thả pháo.
Maybe Admiral Sharp got his wish a couple weeks early.
Ngọc Định.
Oh no, this isn't the airbase, but we are close. Yeah, it's some sort of industrial complex or something. Looks like they took out a couple of factory buildings. We're up on the northwest side of the city. Oh yeah, there's Fujian just to the left. Still safe and sound. I think Second Lieutenant Duong is under fire. Oh, we got something going out to the right. Something just exploded. Some flak going off, so we have Americans right here in the area. Looks like A4s are close by. Something passing from my right to left. It's an A4 Skyhawk and me without any ammo. Ground fire coming up. 2 more bandits. Out to my 12, moving to 1 o'clock. Another something at 11 o'clock. Jesus. Sam coming in from the left. Big SAM site just outside of Kep, and it looks like they are active today, which is amazing. Unfortunately, they missed whatever they were firing at, but we just passed underneath an American flight of several aircraft. But there's Kep right there. We're almost home. Passing over the Cow River. I have no idea where 2 is. I should probably just tell him to return to base at this point, because I don't think he's going to fire that last missile. Where is he? Okay, he is way out to the west, so I think he is safe. So let's tell him to return to base. And we ourselves are going to turn in. There we go, right in line to land at Kep. So I'm hoping that 2 will just come in from behind us and safe and sound head right for the runway and touch down. And I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that all the Americans have moved out to the right, back towards the ocean, and will be clear this far inland. We've got a friendly flight somewhere out there that is being engaged by missiles and firing back. It looks like they're firing guns, so hopefully they're just taking care of business out there and we'll be safe. Right over the airbase now for our overflight. Keeping the speed up nice and fast in case there's any bad guys behind us, but air defenses aren't going crazy, so I think our tail is clear. Knocked in 1 is in the break.
Tao thấy cái gì lạ không? Mấy thằng cá đẻ ở sau mình. Coi chừng nó thả pháo.
Rolling out in downwind, we have 1,000 liters of fuel left, which is wonderful. We have plenty to spare. And it's been so long since I've actually landed a MiG-21, I gotta remember how to do it. I'm a little rusty. Air brakes out so we can keep the R11 spooled up in case we have to go emergency full throttle. We already have the engine up at power. Coming around, rolling out on final here in just a moment. We're a little high. That's alright. We'll just let it drop down. Nose up. Oh, now we're floating a little bit, so we're still fast. We'll just hold the nose. Touchdown at Kep. Excellent. Holding 10 degrees. Son of a bitch! No! Oh, come on! Look at this! What? What? Where did this guy come from? Duong is going down. He's been shot down right next to the goddamn airbase. It's an F4. Fucking A. I can't believe that. What was Duong doing? Oh, I know what Duong was doing. Oh, son of a goddamn bitch. I think that we were assigned to land in the other direction, and so I think he was circling all the way around to come in from our 12 o'clock. And because I told him to return to base, he was not going to maneuver. Ah, damn it. Well, I did my best, but he got shot down. What? There's only so much hand-holding I can do with the AI wingman, so let's head back to the debriefing, and we'll see if maybe he survived that shoot-down, and check in on the rest of the details of the mission. Oakley dokley, so objective was to intercept an enemy flight approaching the Kinno motor vehicle repair facility, blah blah blah. Yeah, we disregarded that. Flight time 25 minutes and 5 seconds, result none of the primary targets were destroyed, but we did get 2 additional enemy aircraft, so that's interesting because I only hit 1, right? Unless my second missile hit something. Anyways, we'll check on that in a second. But that's exciting. We did get 2 additional enemy aircraft. 1 MiG-21 was lost. Unfortunately, our wingman shot down while trying to land. Rating of failure, score of 100. Here are the stats. I fired all 30 rounds of our 30mm cannon, which we knew, and fired both missiles, one of which hit, getting an F-105 kill. And Second Lieutenant Vi also fired all his guns for no hits, but his first ATOL did shoot something down, which, so during the attack I didn't even notice that, but that's awesome. So that's his second air-to-air kill. So we got one of those F-105s at some point during the battle, sneaking up from behind. Hopefully he has survived. And looking at the roster, he has indeed survived that shootdown. Second Lieutenant Duong Van Vi, 9 missions, 2 air-to-air kills now. So thank God, because we can replace those planes, but not the pilots. We may have to take additional measures the next couple of missions to maybe protect our wingmen. Maybe flying them all the way up to China to make sure that the Americans disengage before we return to base. We'll think about that for next time. But anyways, let's take a look at the log. Blessedly short for once. Not much going on. 922, I fired both my AA2s with the opening shots of the engagement. And actually 922.57, Second Lieutenant Duong fired his AA2 as well. So he was right behind me as we dove into these F105s. I hit my Thunder Chief, destroying it at 922.27. And his hit at 922.36, destroying his F105. And then 922, I fired all 30 rounds at that F105 and just did not hit it for some reason. I had a radar lock, which I should know better than actually trust the computer, but the computing gun sight, because the Pipper was right on him. But man, he was like crabbing to the right, and it was the rounds just missed him. All 30 rounds missed him, unfortunately. He was a sitting duck target, and they sailed right by. So just dumb on my part. I know I can do better than that. I just missed today. Just didn't do a good job. 922.39. Duong fired his 30 rounds. He missed as well. Then a few minutes go by, and then we have an F4C Phantom. So there was an Air Force Phantom squadron somewhere, which I never saw, but he fired a Sparrow, so I have no idea where that happened at. And then this Navy Phantom fired a Sidewinder, so short-range Sidewinder at Duong at 931.41, hitting him and shooting him down just over Bac Yang, right next to the airbase. For another loss of a MiG-21, but thankfully not for a loss of the pilot. So pretty interesting to see the SAMs were active today as well, getting a little assistance from the ground defenses. So moving forward, I'm really excited to see that. You know, as we're now in the summer of 66, and a lot of things were happening at this point. Our ground defense network is getting bigger and bigger, so I'm hoping to see more SAM shots at enemies, a lot more flak going on, being able to see the coordination between both the MiGs and the SAMs at the same time, which was something that the network was not able to handle at first, but later in the war was. Historically speaking, this was also the summer of the MiGs, where the North Vietnamese inflicted heavy losses on the US Air Force. Again, mostly just ignoring the Navy, because they had learned that the Navy pilots had just enough training and used better combat formations than the Air Force, so they started to specifically target the Air Force with their inflexible welded wing formations, following their very routine bombing runs in and out of the country, and having very little to no air combat training. Over the course of the spring, summer, and early fall of 66, the U.S. Air Force took such heavy losses. That was one of the reasons that Colonel Robin Olds was ordered into North Vietnam to take over the fighter wing at Ubon. He was sent in specifically to try to turn things around, which, you know, he did. That led to the Operation Bolo that we discussed in the last mission. Okay, hope you enjoyed this one. A little bit unorthodox, in the sense that it was actually more realistic, based on real-life North Vietnam tactics, and not so much the video game tactics that I've been sort of trying to employ up till now. And we're going to see more like these going forward, because again, I'm still in damage control mode with this squadron. Got to try to maintain my pilots until I can get some reinforcements, hopefully. So come on back next time, we'll see what the next mission has in store for us.